This is what I'm told all the time whenever I tell my friends what I'm studying and what I'm doing in class. But I can't help but disagree, and I will argue with them, and I do. Because I have found some wills in my classes that stray so far from preconceptions, they're just crazy. Some of the more noteworthy wills that I have found that are available for public viewing online or in books are the Charles Miller will, Hainu Ray, Haine, and the third one, I'm just calling it strangely placed wills, because they've popped up in strange places. Charles Miller. This man was a Canadian lawyer in 1927. He gave his whole estate of $568,000, and I'm going to quote him here, "to the mother who has given birth in Toronto to the greatest number of children," unquote. They counted children born from the time of his death to 10 years later. This was a decade known as the Stork Derby, because in this time frame, women in the state were just having as many children as they could, as fast as they could. And I find that kind of entertaining. In the end, it was a four-way tie to 9 children each. Each mother got $142,000. And sometimes I find it entertaining to think of the mothers who had 8 children in that time. They tried so hard. Heinrich Heine. This man was a German poet. He left in his will everything to his wife. On one condition: she had to remarry. And there was a reason for this. To quote him, the reason was, "because then there will be at least one man to regret my death." This is sad, and I don't know what she did, but he chose a will to get revenge. And that's funny. These are the examples I tell them. And some wills have been regularly written, but in the strangest of places. In 1913, a family of a deceased housewife in Philadelphia found her will. It was written in the middle of one of her handwritten recipe books, in the middle of a recipe. She was writing her recipe, and I guess she thought, "I'm going to die one day." So she just wrote it out in the middle of the recipe and continued. It said to, quote, "measure tomatoes when peeled. In case I die before my husband, I leave everything to him." Then it continued with the recipe. This is called the chili sauce will, and although I tried, I couldn't find the author. I only found more chili sauce recipes. George W. Hazeltine. He had no paper whenever he wanted to write a will. He asked his nurses if they had any paper, and they too said no. Then one of the nurses did something that's kind of risky here. She lifted her dress. She had a petticoat underneath. She lifted her dress, and she said, "Here." And he wrote his last will and testament across her petticoat. He left generously to his 2 nurses, who also signed as witness. The petticoat will, as it's called, that's its actual name, it was unfortunately not admitted to probate. It was not allowed by the court because it was witnessed by the heirs. That was the only reason. It wasn't because it was written across the petticoat, just because it was witnessed by the same people who were inheriting, which is a big no-no. So, as you can see, I've been learning quite a bit in my classes. People say that wills are boring. They say that law is boring. Maybe these people need to look a further bit below the surface, because I would not call the wills I just told you about today boring. Thank you.
Very good.